It's a new year and a new creative challenge today on Quick Tips with WeVideo. Welcome back and Happy New Year, Stu. Nice to see you.
Hey, Happy New Year, Ryan. Great to see you as well. It's nice to we had a little holiday break, so it's nice to see you after the holidays.
Yeah, we're back after a 2-week break here on Quick Tips with WeVideo, and before that, we said goodbye to Stu for about a month there because we
That is
did
true.
the last episode of the season one, if you will, with our good friend Ryan Larson, and we kind of ran down our favorite features of the product that were released over the year. But you were definitely missed because I know you had some faves as well.
Thank you so much. Well, I'm excited to be back. So yeah.
Yeah, I'm excited to roll into year two and season two for us here at Quick Tips, and year two for the WeVideo Creative Challenge, which
Yeah,
is the topic of our show today. And we started this all the way back in January of 2024, and it's January of 2025, and I know we've got a similar but different concept for kicking off the new year and this new creative challenge.
that's right. Yeah, I remember we joked about season 2 coming up of Quick Tips. So that's right. We're season 2, episode
Right.
1. Here we
Yeah.
go.
Like, yeah, I'm running with that. Come on, let's go. And a great way to kick that off is with a super cool creative challenge that I know our audience has been loving the creative challenges as it's kind of taken off more and more every month that we've rolled these out. And it's just a great way as you come back into the classroom, as you're starting to re-engage your students, set the course for this next semester, for this new year. A creative challenge is a fantastic and easy way to get back into the WeVideo project and put multimedia creation opportunities in front of your students.
Absolutely. And I have to say, I get to communicate with the winners of the creative challenges, and that's always a lot of fun. I think the last creative challenge winner emailed me back after finding out and said they had a smile on their face ear to ear, for the last couple of days. And then, I get to hear from teachers the ways that their students reacted to learning the news that they won. And people have been getting really excited. So it's really fun for students to participate in the challenge, engage in a creative process, be able to submit something, potentially win. And then for the folks that do win and get prizes sent to them, that's a really exciting opportunity. And then this month's creative challenge, starting off the new year in 2025, is I think a really fun one. Super simple, quick activity. Basically, what we're asking people to do is come up with a word that you're bringing into 2025. That could be, that could be a word that is sort of, an intention that you're setting for the new year. Something that sort of defines what you're wanting to bring into the new year, and then to create a simple motion graphic. So it's a good opportunity for students to learn some new technology skills, but also think about the year ahead and how they want to frame that year. And then come up with something that, they're going to remember, that they can share with an audience, that they can share with each other and discuss, and just, fun activity to sort of set the mindset for the year.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's get into it. Let's just set up, where to find, how to access instructions on the challenge. And if you want, of course, it is a challenge. And as Stu mentioned, you can submit your work to be picked as a winner and sent some pretty sweet WeVideo swag and called out on social media. And shout out to our winners from last fall as well, because I know they, like you said, they were very excited that they were picked as the winners for this challenge. So let's give the viewers, just in case you're new to the challenge, in case this is your first one that you're sort of dipping your toe into the pool for, where can they find instructions for it? How do they access some samples, and how can they submit?
Yeah, I mean, we could pull up the page, but if you go to wevideo.com/creative-challenges, that's where you'll find, that's sort of our homepage for the creative challenges. So you'll find this month's creative challenge every month linked from that homepage. And you'll also find the past challenges down below. So you can still run those activities in your class, maybe run the contests within the class or between classes to make it fun. Or just run the activity in your class. So those are always relevant. But in terms of submitting to WeVideo, you can find the current month's challenge here. So for January 2025, the challenge is word of the year. And so the challenge is defined as students choose a word that represents their goals, aspirations, or mindset for the year ahead. Then they use WeVideo to create a short, engaging text animation video to bring their word to life. And of course, you can submit videos by the end of the month for a chance to win prizes. So I created an example here. We can kind of check this example out. Originally, when I created this, I was thinking about the Warhol prints and wanting to do something in that style. And so I had originally made something with Frida Kahlo in each quadrant and then like done some animations around that. So I was sort of just doing like a spin-off of that design, but taking a static image and putting it to motion. And then I iterated on that and turned it into a word. So here is the one that I came up with. Let's check it out. Okay, so that's the example I came up with. And you could do this.
You always use, always. This should just get me. I mean, I know you use the stock media library for the musical assets, but you find the coolest ones in there every time.
You like that song? I've heard that song too many times at this point, so it's. But I obviously liked it in the beginning. Music can have a shelf life.
For sure, I agree. But
yeah,
you choose really poignant musical effects for your content, and it always matches up well. So
thank you.
Love the visual display there. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's some great music in the stock media library. I'm always impressed, and there's new audio being added all the time. So it's fun to dig for new things. But yeah, so that is the example I came up with, and I thought I would show you all how I created that. We do have a tutorial video here. This is from a previous episode of Quick Tips where we went over motion graphics, and we talked about all the different tools within WeVideo that you can use to animate static text or static images. And so that's going to go into things like color and opacity and things like that. So a little bit different than the example we just looked at. So we can take a look at that as well. But yeah, so this
is a very similar project to kind of like you mentioned, and even the ones that we did for the Creative Challenge last January when we released the new text engine, which gave our users the capability to be, I think, more creative in animating static text. So that project too, there's some examples of those as well. But that Quick Tips episode way back, that was episode 3 from season 1.
Season 1, yeah.
It was a good one. Long, but there's a really great tips on how to animate static text in there. All different kind. I think you showed off 5 or 6 different ways to do that.
Yeah, and we'll do like a quick review of that as well today. But yeah, so we can jump over to the editor, and I wanted to share kind of 3 different ideas of how you might approach an assignment like this or an activity like this. We'll start with something basic, and then I'll show you how I created that love graphic. But the one thing you can do is just use our transparent text, which can be found by going to text and expanding the titles. And it's this transparent one. And so this actually looks a little bit more complicated. I'm going to expand the timeline here. It looks a little more complicated than it actually is. So I'm just going to delete a couple things so you all can see how simple this actually is. And that is really just dragging one transparent text block down as I've already done here, and then double clicking to edit the text. I like to fill the screen with the transparent text instead of having it just be a band across. And so that's why I have this like character and then space and then the word and then space and character. That's just a way to kind of expand. It's a little workaround. It's a little trick to expand the transparent text block to fill the screen. And then, of course, dragging it out on the sides so that it fills the screen horizontally as well. And then using the stock media library, searching videos, you can search things like colorful backgrounds. There's some different fun search terms that we'll cover today that bring up some cool things. And so then I just found one I liked and dragged it down to the video one track. And so basically, already really cool. I'm just going to undo just to show what I also did here, which is I put a layer in between my background and my text. And I went into extras and I looked at overlays. So I expanded overlays, and there are some neat kind of like effects in here. This one you can't really see without a background under it. So let me just show you what that actually looks like by dragging it down into the timeline here. So it's got that kind of like vintage television VHS static look. And so that's what I dragged here in the middle just to add a little more interest to the image over the background there. Actually, it might have been a different one. It might have been this one. It was one of those overlays. I made this a little while ago. But point being that you can kind of
like, work though too, right? Like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So yeah, and then you'll notice this looks a little more complicated because there's some splits here. And what I wanted to do is just animate the text a little bit. And so it ended up looking like this. And so all that is just splitting the text block, double clicking on one, coming in here to animation. And let's say I want it to start at the scale of 1, but I want it to end at the scale of 1.2. Maybe we'll do something a little more dramatic. Oh, that's too much because it goes over our image. 1.3, let's do. And then coming into this second one and changing the start position to match the end of the last one. And get something. Okay. Moving a little more slowly on the last one because that text block in the timeline is a lot longer. And so it's just moving from 1.3 to 1 in more time. So it's moving a little slower. So you can just adjust the length of this to make it go faster or slower.
Those subtle differences make the piece, the media, a little bit more engaging.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I won't go too much into this, but I will say, so you notice there's a few more splits here for this animation. And the reason for that is I wanted it to, it's called easing in animation software, but I wanted it to like start slow, get faster, and then slow down at the end, and then kind of bounce back in the same way. So I just played around with the numbers here, like 1 to 1.1, 1.1 to 1.7, and was just playing around with the numbers and time of the clips to create different speeds at different points and create a little more of a smooth animation. So, if you have kids who are like interested in really diving deep, that's something they can kind of play around with.
Yeah, leveling up the different ways you can animate the text for sure. And you split them all to provide those different speeds, so it all happens. It looks like it kind of looks like a sort of swung out forward and then it comes back into place, which is a pretty cool effect. And the way to do that is you've got to split that clip into the different components you needed to in order to create the different speeds.
Yeah, exactly.
Cool little advanced editing technique for all of those out there that want to take this to the next level for sure.
Yeah. So, you can have fun with that. So yeah, that's one. And then the other one I wanted to talk about was the example that we looked at, the love 4-quadrant example. And this one also looks a little more complicated than it actually needs to be, because I also wanted to animate the letters over the background clips here. But really, like, this one also could just look like I think that would work. Yeah, like if we extended these out, each of these, it could just look like this. It could just be, you know, a long text block for each letter, like this. Okay. And then this is going to have a set of those letters.
And those
So,
backgrounds are just they're motion backgrounds that you've set up in
yeah,
each of the different quadrants, right? Yeah. And the
yeah,
letters themselves are not animated, it's just the background in
yeah,
this simple case here. Yeah, right.
yeah. So basically, the way that I created this, I'm just going to undo that so I keep the way this is set up. But the way that I created this, first I had to create additional tracks because you know you start off with a video track, a text track, and an audio track. And so I needed here 4 tracks for my letters, 4 tracks for my backgrounds for the different quadrants. So what I did is just come over here and add a number of video and text tracks. So that'll add one up on top. So I just did that 7 times, I guess, until I had the right number of tracks. And then I searched the stock media library. I searched for like a transition pack for this. You could see some up there in my favorites. And so there are lots of transition packs in here. I have the one that I used in the project bin, so I'm gonna pop over there. Should be in the project bin. Well, oh yeah, there it is. Sorry. So yeah, so this multicolor transition. So you might search multicolor transitions if you want to find that one. So I'll drag that down to the timeline, and it's going to fill the screen. And so basically, what I did is I found like a section of this that I liked. So kind of just back up here, and then I'll split this, get rid of what I don't want. And then let's see, each of these are 8 seconds. So let me just jump from 32 to 40 seconds. I'm looking at the time over here on the right. Okay, so I'm going to split that and delete using S on my keyboard. And so now I've got my kind of 8-second animation for one of my quadrants. And so then I just double click on this animation, and I like to turn on the grid for this. I come over here to the scale tool. So from transform, there's a scale option, and I just change this to 0.5 and then click and drag it into one of the quadrants and just try to line up the edges with those red lines there. So I basically just, then you can, once you've done that once, you can copy and paste, drag this on top, and then drag this over here. And then maybe drag this out until it's 16 seconds long. So just double the time. Drag this in until it's 8 seconds long and drag it over. So you have a different section. You know, they're not animating the same colors. And there you go. And I could also have done just cut off like the first 4 seconds. You wouldn't necessarily notice that. So you could have some overlap as long as they're not overlapping at the same time.
It's that's a great little trick right there to help save you time. So you're not finding multiple motion backgrounds. You're using one and just varying the time that it runs for, and you're getting different animations over the static text if that's how you want to keep it simple. And then, of course, if you want to take it to that next level, you could animate the letters as well.
Right. And then, yeah, once you've got 2, you can copy the 2 at the same time. And then, there we go. And then just adjust the time. And drag it over. And then do the same thing with this last one.
Nice.
Yeah. So maybe we'll just do this quickly. Okay, so now I've got my background set. So then it's just a matter of coming over here to the text, and I just used a basic text block here. Dragged it down and double clicked on it to change the text. change the text size, give it a font that you like, that you want to use, drag it to the position that you want it in, change the color, go red for this one, and there we go. And then again, like you could animate this letter on top of the background animation. So I could say like, oh, let's just have this like row to like 1.4 or something like that, or maybe 1.3. So it'll be kind of a subtle animation there. And then now that we've set up that first letter, again, we can just come in here. It's already got the color, the font, the size, and the animation applied. So just copy and paste and move it over, and then change the letter. Oops. Maybe change the color. And you can just use the slider over there to keep a similar tone. And then copy and paste the two together, bring them up, and then we would just repeat that process for these other two letters. Oh, so, okay, so here's a problem. Do you see what's going on here?
They're moving.
They're moving, yeah. So, let's see, I guess what happened there.
Do you have animation on the
Oh,
letters?
it's because the animation, I'm moving them down. I moved their start position, but not their end position.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
How would you fix that?
I would fix that by a couple ways you could do it, but I would just double click on each letter and change the end position. And this might not be totally exact. If I wanted to, I could look at the start position, 44, 457, and then, well, actually, because the scale is increasing, so that's going to change a little bit. So yeah, you have to eye this one, but that's okay. So yeah, same thing with this one. I would just change the end position to stay down here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then we'll change the letter and the color. Same thing here. And looks like I need to do one more.
There we go. Quick fix.
Quick fix, quick tips, quick fix.
That's right.
And there we go.
There it is. Nice. Yeah. That took you all of about five minutes, even with the realization that you hadn't moved the end position to the right spot. When you went back and fixed that, it was about 5 minutes from start to finish. Now we know Stu spends a lot of time on these projects initially and can replicate them quickly. So if this is something that you enjoy, maybe it takes you a class period or two to finish, but it's not designed to take a week's amount of time. These are designed to be quick and easy and fun activities that will engage your students in something creative as they roll back in from winter break.
Yeah, one class period. If they want to play around more at home and iterate on it and then share the next day or something. Yeah, plenty of time. And that's part of the fun of it, is like having a vision, an idea, and then jumping into the editor and trying to figure out how to do it. And then, you run into a mistake and it's like, okay, how do I fix this? There's problem solving involved. And then there's also, as you're creating something, you come up with new ideas. The process of creativity and imagination gets ignited. And so I think it's good for kids' brains. It's a fun process. And it's a good sort of problem solving, critical thinking exercise as well. So that's it. So yeah, I think, potentially really fun activity for kids, and great way to something they can share with each other. And you can kind of see like, these are the intentions or the values or the goals that, we're setting as a class. And that can be kind of a good way to build community too.
Absolutely. And we'd love to know what your word is of 2025. Drop a comment below if you're watching this today or tomorrow or this week or later this month. Let us know what your word is. And again, if you're engaging your students in this challenge, we're always looking to select winners for this challenge. And we're always looking to shout out your content and your students' content if you give us permission to share that on social media. If you do post anything publicly that you're working on, or you've got a cool project that you can share, post that on social media and hit it with the hashtag WeVideo Creative hashtag, and we will pick it up, promote it, share it, retweet it, all the ways to get your great work out into the universe to see, again, like Stu said, what your and your students' intentions are for 2025. Just real quick, one more time to access this creative challenge, wevideo.com/creative-challenges. Once you're finished with your creation, there's going to be a form at the bottom of that web page for that month's challenge that you can submit. And again, at the end of the month, Stu will pick a winner. He'll reach out to you. Shout out to our November winner. We're still tabulating the results from our December creative challenge, so we'll shout you out next month. But our November winner was Haley LeBouy. I hope that's how you say it. Sorry, Haley, if I butchered your last name. She's a technology coach that supports schools in the Mountain View Westman School District out here in California. And her students submitted the animated vocab cards challenge. So congrats, Haley. Thanks for submitting. And we hope that you hear your name announced in probably the March edition of our Quick Tips Creative Challenge to celebrate you and your students. And yeah, please let us know in the comments what you're excited about, what you want to see more of from us on Quick Tips. We have an intention. My intention word for this show, specifically for this year, is quick. That is the word I am moving into with 2020 and with 2025 in mind. And yeah, Stu, you inspired that from this challenge and just from the idea that we're trying to provide you some really great and quick opportunities to engage your students in multimedia projects.
Mm-hmm. I know what Eric. I think I know what Erica Sandstrom's word is going to be.
What's that?
Gratitude.
Gratitude, of course, absolutely.
Gratitude.
How can I forget that?
That's Erica, a great word to bring into any year.
Yeah, absolutely. And Eric, if you're watching, I'll see you in Orlando, Florida next week at the FETC conference. If you're all out there, it's a little plug. We're heading into conference season. A little plug for the WeVideo booth, booth number 2450. If you're at the FETC conference next week in Orlando, I will be there in the flesh. Come by and say hi at our booth. Love to meet you in person and celebrate all things WeVideo with you. But Stu, thanks for sharing that creative challenge. Really fun episode. And we'll see you back here next week for another edition of Quick Tips with WeVideo. But until then, happy creating, everybody. And we will talk to you soon. Bye now.
Take care.